Hello, hello, Classic Joey Mac here. I wanted to do something a little different today. I wouldn't call this a book review or a review of any kind, but I wanted to discuss and delve into a book that I have here called The Omni. It's a future almanac that was written in 1982, I believe. And I'm actually a little excited about it because no one I've ever talked to has ever even heard about this book. Which, for good reason. This isn't, this isn't The Great Gatsby or, something everyone in the world has read. But where would I find such a book as this? A future almanac written in the early 80s. I mean, I found this actually in an old bookstore, and it's right up my alley. I mean, people don't call me classic for a reason. What I like about the book, though, is that it's not fiction. It's actually written by, I believe, a group of people that, were top of their field in medical and science fields. Now, certainly, some of what they're trying to do is make the argument, for what they think is going to happen. Whether it's technology, medical science, computers, the solar system, everything. And I read through it a few times. Now, some things are a lot more interesting than others. I don't pretend to be some sort of expert in any of these fields, to be honest. But I do like the fact that you have a book in 1982 that's written, and a lot of it, just for example, what they'll do is they'll talk about, let's say, here we are, projected computer milestones, right? And they talk about 1990, and, they go into 1992, 94, 2005, 2006, 7, 10, and it just goes through different years. And I kind of like that because it's 2014, obviously, and I like reading things like, beyond 2010, let's see what they thought in 1982 about what was going to happen. And they do that for a number of different subjects, and I'll just read through the subjects that they have: science and technology, medicine and the body, earth, a changing ecology, space, the new frontier, business sector, technological lifestyles, world vital statistics, the future calendar, and they go into like decade after decade, and it's actually really fascinating. And I wanted to do a video on it because, one, I think it's a fascinating topic. Two, I think it also makes us think. In 1982, I'm going to be fair here, I actually thought that some of the things that they nailed have happened. And happened in the timeline that they predicted. I think the internet and even a couple of medical milestones were reached. Some things completely not reached at all, almost silly to even think of now, like when we're, according to this, I think by 2020, 7,000 people are supposed to be living on the moon or Mars, one of those. That just doesn't even seem real at this point. It doesn't even seem like anyone cares about doing something like that. I think some of their medical milestones fall extremely short when they think the cure to so many different things would have already happened by now, and unfortunately it didn't. A lot of the technology things, they were spot on, though. A lot of things with computers, the internet, having information at our fingertips essentially, that's all very real, almost too real. There's a lot of cool things in here. I definitely, if you haven't gotten it, and believe me, I don't even know the author or, anyone. I've never looked up too much information. I would check this out if you're really interested, though, in how the past projects the future. I've got books from like the 60s, the 50s that talk about what it would be like by 2000. This one I like because it's a little bit more recent. It's more the 80s, which it's the decade I was born in. And to see what they kind of think about the present and beyond, I think is really fascinating. It doesn't come across as outdated as maybe, say, the 60s are about now. Even though things are so different from the 80s, there's no question about that. There's, by the time we got to even the early 80s, a lot closer. 82 is a lot closer to where we are from a technology and science standpoint than it was in, like, say, 1952. But it's a really cool book, and it really made me start to think, by 2014, are we where we should be? Are we as impressive as we should be as a society when it comes to things like robotics and science and pharmaceuticals and just medical in general? I started thinking, I'm like, on the one hand, yes, I kind of think we are, but on the other hand, when I read a book like this, I'm like, either they had some really big goals or we just really fell short of, when I say we, I mean, I didn't go into the medical or science or technology field. I went into human resources. I think that my best strengths are writing and dealing with people. That's just what I've chose. But it really made me think. So I'm interested to see if you're in, if you like bionics or robotics or just medical in general, any of these topics. I really want to know, do you think that we are as far as we should be as a society? In 2014, are we as impressive as we kind of think we are? In my head, I never really believed that we would turn out like the Terminator, where we have like robots uprising against us. Not in that way, at least. But in my head, I remember 10 years ago, I had a conversation with my dad. And, we're talking about a mall that we were in. And that mall, like my childhood mall, is actually closing. And I think in large part, malls and stores in general are closing just because of technology. It's so much easier to get on my computer and order something. Like if I want this book, why would I go to a bookstore anymore? I just go on Amazon. And I like bookstores. I'm sort of an outdated, nerd when it comes to that. But even I recognize it's not as efficient. It's not efficient for me to get into a car, pay for gas, drive to the store, use my credit card there, and then physically drive back on it. The only thing that does is give me more instant gratification. But even in today's Amazon, I'm getting the book 2 to 3 days after I order it anyway. So it's not even like, it's not the way it used to be where it was like a week or two until shipping, came in. So I think that based on that conversation with my dad, I remember saying to him, like, Dad, I think like malls and these open plains are just going to be huge warehouses where everything's kind of kept and it's just going to be shipped. I mean, that's why jobs like FedEx and, not the postal service, I guess, but that's why they're such big jobs. Delivery jobs are so huge. I mean, you're getting flowers delivered. You're getting everything. I saw a commercial the other day about a company that will actually order from places for you and then deliver. Like if I wanted to order Applebee's, they'll pick it up for me and deliver it to me. So there is some advances, certainly, in some ways. But I wonder if we're behind where we should be. And I thought that was an interesting conversation. So tell me what you think. I'd like to hear from a lot of you. Go on to my Twitter, certainly my Tumblr. This isn't a typical post from me where I'm not giving an opinion. I'm not giving creative writing or poetry or whatnot. I want to actually know, do people think we're as far as we are? And check out this book, too, as well. It talks a lot about cloning and techno-farming and all kinds of crazy things. So let me know what you think. Are we as advanced as we should be? Or are we behind? So hit me up. All right. I'll catch you guys later.